Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. I'm Juan Ayala, and welcome to Actors with Issues. Each week, we bring you interviews with actors from across TV, film, and Broadway, taking many deep dives into their careers and getting into the successes, the struggles, and of course, the issues that they face as actors. That's enough about us. Let's dive into the episode. Today's guest is an actor you've seen most recently in the Netflix series Uncoupled, and he's also appeared in FBI Most Wanted. It's my buddy, Jhulenty Delossantos. Jhulenty, welcome to the show, man. So happy to have you here finally.
Yeah, pleasure and honor to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
So as you know, you're a reader, a listener of the show, rather. We always start with a rapid fire game called Getting to Know You, so that our audience can get to know you a bit better. So we always start with coffee or tea,
Coffee, definitely coffee.
film or TV,
Uh, Film,
New York or LA,
New York,
drama or comedy,
drama,
hero or villain.
eh, anti-hero,
There you go, loophole.
right?
Stage acting or screen acting.
Stage.
What actors had the biggest influence on you?
Christoph Waltz,
Good choice. What is the last show that you binge watched?
P-Valley. Actually,
What
just the
was
series finale was like yesterday, I think. So,
what was your first non-acting job?
a call center. I was working for Dish Network. Yeah, I was back in VR.
If you could have lunch with any actor, dead or alive, who would it be?
Mm, it would be with. I think I would go with Tom Hanks.
What is a movie that never fails to make you cry?
Titanic,
And what
always
movie
every
never
single
fails to
time.
make you laugh?
And to 21 Drum Street.
And lastly, describe your most memorable audition in 3 words. And memorable can be good or bad, so it's up to you.
Mm, Bartender, shake. Oh God. Yeah.
So, Jay, I don't know entirely. We've been friends for years at this point. We did go to college together, but I don't know entirely how you got into acting. So, how did all that start for you?
Yeah, man. Well, we went to Housatonic and all that, and at the time, I didn't even know like what I wanted to do. I wasn't even too sure. I was like 18 at the time, and I was like a graphic design major for like 3 days, and I was like, yeah, this ain't it. This is not it.
That was me with
But
accounting. I was like, this isn't for
yeah,
me.
like 3 days, I was just like, yo, no. But I knew I wanted to do like something artsy, so I knew I was an artist, a creative. So I was just going through the brochures of like what majors I could possibly do and whatnot. And I was like, oh, theater arts, okay, that seems like it would be pretty cool. And then we started doing some of the short plays and whatnot. And I was like, I got the actor bug and stuff. And then we met at the Bijou when I got cast in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at the Bijou Theater. And yeah, from there, at that point, I was like, oh, okay, this is it. And yeah, from there, I just started doing plays and plays and plays.
Mhm. And I remember you did a lot with Collective Consciousness. You did a lot of stuff with us at the Bijou. We did Take Me Out together. You joined the cast of that. When I had to take over another role, and then you took over mine while I was doing that other one. What a weird journey that
Yeah,
was. Such a great
that
show, though. That
was
was a really fun show.
that was so fun, and it was a challenge too. It was such a big challenge. And Collective Consciousness Theater, yeah, that place was definitely home. Especially working with Dexter Singleton and Jenny Nelson. They really pushed me in ways. They really molded me. We actually had a production. The last thing I did over there was Jesus Hopped the A Train. We
Mhm.
did that. I believe that was in 2018, and I was cast as Angel Cruz. So that was like one of the big parts. And yeah, Dexter was directing, and he was just really challenging me in ways that I needed to be challenged. And I feel like when I did that play, I really grew.
Looking back, is there anything that you know now about acting, the entertainment business, anything in particular, that you wish you knew earlier? Like something that would have been helpful, 5, 10 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think it's important to have a mentor.
Mm.
Now I'm seeing, like, I always would hear that before, but now I'm really seeing like the value of having somebody to like guide you and whatnot. Yeah, and just having the humility to be able to listen to somebody when they're trying to tell you something,
Yeah.
which is something that I appreciate a lot more now. And yeah, that's one of the main things. Also, just being able to take the no's, because now we're in New York and we're auditioning a lot, so we hear like a lot of no's, and just really developing that tough skin to be able to endure that and to be more about the audition rather than booking the role.
Yeah.
So just making sure that we get a really solid audition and then just let it go rather than oh, did I get the part?
Right.
So
Yeah. Because, we know now they don't tell you when you didn't get it. You just don't hear
yeah,
anything at all. It's the radio
you just
silence. For the self tapes,
barely ever.
sent,
Yeah, I think I heard back one time. I was auditioning for this feature film, and yeah, and the guy did like a whole video, like saying like, "Hey guys, keep staying on the path. Just keep at it. You're all amazing. Keep following this path." And I was just like, "Wow, he really took the time to. He didn't
yeah,
have to do that, So I
yeah.
was like, "Wow, I was really appreciative of that."
Wow. Those are the type of people you want to work with because, so many times you think it's, um, personal, but it's show business and it's just how it works. We can't give everyone a part. This isn't when we're kids and there's four kids as trees off to the side and there's the cloud and like,
Mhm.
it's not, that's just sadly not how it works. There isn't room for everyone. Yeah.
Right. But
And
I did hear when I was working with to dive into, when I was working on Uncoupled, there was this actor called Emerson Brooks, and he was on this other podcast called the Think Bigger podcast. And he said something along the lines, it's a paraphrasing here, but he said, there's enough food on the table to eat for those who are willing to stay on the table and be prepared.
mm,
Said something along those lines. And that really like hit me. I was like, oh, okay. So as long as we like stick with it and just keep working on our craft and just doing our best to be better, we're eventually gonna be rewarded.
speaking of Uncoupled, so what was your audition process like? I'm sure it was like a normal self tape and all that stuff, but like as far as the role, because it was a comedy, and sadly there's not too many comedies that shoot in New York anymore. So what was that like since you've done mostly drama?
It was kind of interesting. We got there and I was like, okay, the director had me do a different take of it and whatnot, and we spoke a lot. And yeah, it was really fun too. It was really, really, really fun. We had a lot of fun on set, and yeah, it was awesome.
So I know that it was, like probably like just the one day of work because it was just the one scene, but was there anything that you maybe learned on set, given that this was like a pretty lengthy scene and with multiple people and all of that stuff? Like, what did you learn on set? What comes to mind?
Yeah, being familiar with all of the equipment that's around,
Mm,
because there was a lot of equipment. So I think getting more so familiar with it instead of, just going in cold, and it would be really easy to feel a little intimidated by like these gargantuan cameras that look like dinosaurs. Um, that's literally what I thought when I saw the camera. I was like, yo, this camera looks like a dinosaur. But yeah, I got just giving it a good look and feeling confident. That's one thing I really it really hit me. Like there was no time for me to be like, oh my God, this is happening. No, I think it was really important for me to feel confident and calm so that way I could just give the best performance that I could do.
and with the name of our show being Actors with Issues, what comes to mind as like an issue or a career obstacle that you've dealt with throughout your career that you can shed some light on for our audience of young actors and artists?
I think one thing that was at least getting in the way for me way back when was finding the balance between like you're trying to build your career and then like your day job and stuff, and how that
Yeah.
can get in the ways, very, very, very frequently, depending on what type of job that you have. So I think that finding work that you like to be able to do what you love is important, and kind of finding a way for those to go hand in hand instead of having to drop one completely for the other.
Won't call anyone out, but I know a few people who, who would take breaks from acting and work a lot to like save up as much as they could, and then they would just act for like half the year or something. And I don't know if I could do something like that because that just sounds so exhausting, and I would hate to take a break from acting for that long and then to just like work myself to death to then have to
Yeah.
go take this little creative vacation and whatnot. And
Yeah. It's just it has to be like intertwined somehow,
mhm.
because that is all your juices are going to be so drained and stuff. Like you're not. I feel like if there's any way to like mix them or just find some way to so that they can work in harmony, that has to be the way.
Yeah, and I think that I hate to say like we still even 2.5 years into the pandemic we hate saying like well something good came out of it, but for a lot of actors and artists they were able to get like a normal job because all of their auditions are tapes. You're not going into the city at 10 a.m. and preparing an hour to go, your appointment there, an hour back. Lord knows sometimes you're there for an hour because they're behind or things are not always super organized at some casting offices. Again, we won't call anyone out, but I don't miss in-person auditioning at all. Some people hate self-tapes. I'm like, this is what it's going to be like. They've been doing
Yeah.
self-tapes in markets like Atlanta since before the pandemic. That's what they did.
Mm.
That like, and to me, like, I just prefer self-tapes, especially for like the one-line co-stars for the smaller roles. I got to go all the way to New York, to Manhattan. I'm already in New
Yeah.
York for that,
Right.
to speak for a second and then
Like,
thanks for coming in. All right.
yeah, I didn't get to experience a couple of in-person auditions. That was like in 2018. But because I got my manager in 2021, so we were already doing self-tapes. But I never got to feel that. I never got to feel, like that, the performative vibe to it. At least I think, like I know, obviously, everything that you said, like preparing and taking the commute and all of that. But the one thing I do miss from auditioning is just the like the anticipation and like you're gonna go and you're getting ready for this moment, for this one moment. You got one take, go,
Yeah.
and you know. And one thing that helps a lot, at least with the self tapes, and I really want to plug this in, is just the weaudition.com, because it helps you
Mhm.
like find a reader like right there on the spot. And that was one of the things that I was struggling a lot in the beginning, with just finding somebody that would have the time and just to do that with me and whatnot. And feeling like you're interrupting somebody's day just so they can do you this favor felt kind of bad. But with We Audition, you just like, you pay a little fee and then they show up, you do what you got to do, and that's about it. So that helped a lot,
Yeah.
the self tapes.
So both of us being Latino actors, I'm curious, like, what is there anything in particular about the industry right now that, in terms of representation, that you want to see more of? Because sadly, roles for Latinos are still somewhat far and few between. Um, there's not that many coming out, and if they are, they're not necessarily the best light we want to be seen in. So, what are your thoughts on like
Yeah.
sort of the landscape of the industry right now?
Yeah, definitely want to see more Latino like leads and not have it tie into necessarily like the culture at an exaggerated sense.
Mhm.
Like we don't always have to be spicy and da, 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 da.
Right.
you know. Sometimes we're chill.
Right. Exactly.
Chill out,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see a little more of that to kind of take us out of that box a little bit and just show different layers of it,
Mhm.
and show more of our struggles too, um like it's our culture really kind of, they want us to do certain things. Like, here we are, we're trying to be actors and whatnot. I mean, we are actors and whatnot. Our culture may not necessarily approve of that. At least for me, like my family wasn't really open to that idea until later on, until way later on.
Mhm.
So showing those kind of struggles, like, hey, what's it like for a Latino to go against the norm?
And looking ahead, what is on your acting bucket list? Like, what's like the next, maybe not the next thing you want to do, but like, what's something that you really, really want to do? Any particular like genres, or do you want to dabble into writing or directing, things like that?
I want to. I'd like to definitely do more drama. I just like drama. So dramatic. Drama. Yeah. Right. So I'd like to do more of that. yeah, just for bigger and better roles and all of that. Well, for any role, and just being a part of this thing. I'm just, at least for me, I'm just really looking at it as far as like the long run. So I'm not really in a hurry, and that feels great. I know that, like we're gonna stay. We're gonna stay. We're not going anywhere. We're not gonna, be like, maybe this isn't for me or anything like that. So
Right.
I know that we can only go up from here. Opportunities are gonna come. They're just gonna come when they're gonna come. But the guarantee is that if we stay and remain, they will come. So I'm just looking forward to what's next.
And so before we go, as you know, we always play a game called Now That We Know You, since we've gotten to chat for a little bit. So fill in the blank. If I weren't working in the arts, I'd be.
Boxer. Yeah.
You did boxing for a little bit, remember?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It was kind of cool. Yeah. The adrenaline and yeah, I like that.
What role have you had the most fun playing?
Mm, I had the most fun. Yeah, that role in Jesus Off the A Train. I was an inmate. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like that a
What is
lot.
the best advice you've ever gotten?
When you work, auditioning is your job. When you book a role, you're on vacation. That was by John Smith.
Yeah,
And
dad.
yeah, John Smith. Yeah,
Our theater
dad.
dad.
Theater dad. Yep. Yeah.
And what is the worst advice you've ever gotten?
Mm, worst advice. I don't know. I think when people say, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I think that can be really, if you have an endeavor or an ambition or some sort of pursuit, whether you're going to succeed or fail, whatever that might mean, I think it's up to you, owe it to yourself to go after it, and not to like let that sit. That has to come out.
Mhm.
So yeah, anybody getting in the way of that is that's bad advice.
And lastly, in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
Remain, remain.
Remain.
Yeah,
I love that. Simple.
yeah. Don't gotta overthink it. Just
Yeah.
remain.
Well, Jay, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. If folks want to give you a follow on Instagram or anywhere, where can they find you?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram at Jhulenty. That's Jhulenty. That's mainly that's my main social media account, so you can follow me there.
Sweet. And as always, folks, you can follow us on Instagram at Actors with Issues. Give me a follow at Juaniel Official and be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our YouTube channel where we have new episodes every Monday with bonus episodes on Thursdays. And don't miss Jhulenty Delossantos on Uncoupled, streaming now on Netflix. I'm Juaniala. This is Actors with Issues, and we'll see you next week.